my stand is at my other home in the Midwest, so we just figuring it out. So story time on how I left or whatever. This calls for glasses. Maybe not. Let me see. Okay. Okay. So basically, I was at LaGuardia and I was pondering, like something in me was like, are you really gonna go back? Like, are you really gonna go back? And so I was like, thinking to myself, and I was sitting in the airport, and for some reason me and my family, we just couldn't get anything to eat. Also, I have allergies. Couldn't get anything to eat in New York, so we end up going to the airport. We saw all the fast food spots. Like, we saw Wendy's. I think McDonald's was there, and we don't eat that. And then we get to the higher floors, and the higher floors, I think, had, or is it the lower level? I can't remember. But there was like a Mexican spot, a chicken strip and fry place. And my family was like, seeing that I was gravitating towards the chicken strip and fry place. And so I actually order, and they said, you know what? We're going to see how your food turns out. You know how pissed I was? I was so pissed. And then my dad was like, no, my sister was like, oh, can I taste it? And mind you, I was super hungry. So I let her taste it. But even with me eating it, it tastes disgusting. So they all said they weren't going to get it. And then they went to Wendy's. So I spent $20. Can you imagine $20 on chicken strips and French fries and a root beer? Cool. I flinged everything in the trash. I was so mad. And then my family was like, oh, do you want me to get you something? Da-da-da. I was like, nah, I was already tight. But I think it was misplaced anger, because I wasn't upset at that. I was upset at the fact that I had to go back to something I did not want to go back to. I had to go back to being a social worker. I had to go back to a life that I wasn't happy with, and felt like there was more to me. Like I'm doing something normal, but I'm not normal. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, I'm sitting there, I'm pondering, they're trying to have conversations with me, and I'm like, you know what? I tell my family straight up, I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna go back on the plane. And my parents was like, okay, what are you gonna do? I said, well, I don't know. People move to New York all the time with $12 in their pocket, with $5 in their pocket, with $100 in their pocket. So I was like, I'm not going back. They was like, who are you going to stay with? I said, I don't know, but I know for a fact I'm not going back. And I'm like, in my brain, I'm going back and forth, and they could see that I'm teetering, but I know for a fact that that's not the goal, or that's not the direction I want to take. So what do? I just wait and I think on it. And then my sister ends up calling my cousin. My cousin tells her and that he wants to speak to me, and he's like, you could stay with me for a little bit till you figure it out. And that's when the ding ding ding, like, okay, this is it. This is the moment that I have to decide, and I have to make a decision. So then I'm sitting there, and my dad is like, you're an adult. You respectfully, like, you do what you gotta do. Like, I support you. And my mom is not having it. She's not having it, because not only am I her baby, but she wants to make sure I'm making the right decision, and she's like trying to look out for me and stuff like that, and she's very protective. Anyways, they're calling our numbers for the flight, right? I remember, I think it was like 5 or something, and I'm sitting there and I'm not getting up. And my mom is like, is this really something you want to do? So you know what? I was like, you know what? I'll just get on the plane. So I get on the plane. And then something in me is like, my sister, she goes, as we're sitting next to each other, she goes, Satira, just take a leap of faith. Like, if you want to get off the plane, you can, you should. And then my mom gives me a look, And mind you, fast forward before that, I'm like dragging my bag to get on the plane. That's how I know I didn't want to do it. Like literally tearing up. And my mom calls the flight attendant over and she's like, oh, is there a way that she could get off the flight and still get her bag? And the flight attendant is like, you want to get off the flight? I'm like, yeah, I don't want to go to where I was going. And then the flight attendant goes, okay, let me check. And so I sat there and I said, if she says I can, it was meant to be. And she comes back to me and she goes, you're free to go. You're free. And I'm like, I'm going to get my bag. And she's like, yeah. And then I text my cousin. I was like, yo, I'm coming. Da, da, da. Like, it was straight. Ooh, it was straight out of a movie. Like, it was straight out of a movie. So I kissed my mother goodbye. My father was like, you got this. Like, it was like so dramatic. My sister was like so excited. She's like, ah! And then, mind you, I only got like a couple of clothes in my bag. I just recently bought a few items, but yeah, I only had a few. So like, I don't know what the driving force was. I just think I was just tired. So of that life. So I get up, I get off the plane and I take the train to my cousin's house, and I've been there ever since. And that was early May. So yeah, so excited. I don't know where God's gonna take me. You know, I just gotta ask him to order my steps and really do what makes me happy. My cousin told me yesterday, be intentional. So, and she had me list out the 4 things that make me happy. And those bring me so much joy. And she was like, you could do those every day, except one of them, which was like traveling. But because I could travel, it just takes, you know, but it's possible, you know, if I that was like a piece of my hair. Wow. My hair's not falling out, guys, but yeah, if I do the things that make me happy and just be really intentional, and I really do feel like keeping God at the forefront and asking for what I want and going for it, it is possible. And like, even like removing fear from the equation, because that has always been my thing. And that's why I haven't recorded. But yeah, fear is not real. That's what my therapist said. Fear is not real. It's a fleeting feeling, and it comes and it goes, but it doesn't stay forever. That's the story time. All right, I'll talk to y'all later.